Let me ask you something. Do you need more motivation, or do you need something that works every single time, even though you don't feel like working? Because here's the thing. On the previous episode, we talked about the silent phase. And the silent phase is where you're consistently just working, putting in the work that you have to do, the disciplines every single day, right? But this is also the phase where a lot of people quit. And they quit not because they can't win, they quit because they just feel like they can't continue. So the question becomes, how do you make sure that you don't quit during this phase? And the answer, believe it or not, is not motivation, because motivation is a feeling and feelings can change. Some days you might feel like you're invincible, you can do anything. You can wake up and you're super pumped up, super full of energy. And then there might be other days where you're not as energetic. You might be doubting yourself. You might be doubting everything around you. So if you are relying on your success or the achievement of the goal, the outcome that you're trying to do, if you're relying on your emotional state for you to be able to achieve whatever that is, the reality is that you may not be able to achieve it because you're relying on your emotions and your feelings. And again, that's going to go up and down. So what you need is a system, because systems are stable, systems are detached from emotion, and they just work. So what you need is a system. Let me give you an example. So when you wake up in the morning and you wake up and you go to the bathroom, you naturally do what? You brush your teeth. So like, you don't need to be pumped up, you don't need to listen to motivational videos or whatever for you to get up in the morning and brush your teeth. It's just natural, right? That's what a system is. It's like you do it, there's no conscious resources that are being deployed or used. It's something that you do. It's embedded into your day. So if you want to be able to be successful and you want to be able to achieve great things in life, you got to be able to put systems in place that are going to run automatically. Because if you're relying on your emotional state, one day you might feel great, another day you may not. So you can't really rely on your feelings. You got to be able to rely on systems. So where do you start? The first thing that you have to do is that you have to pick one action, something that you can do. And it has to be something that you can do repeatedly. It doesn't have to be like this life-shattering type thing that you have to kind of like do every single day or every other day, but it has to be one small action that you can take. As an example, it could be reading a book for 5 minutes. It could be going around your block 3 times, 4 times, whatever. It could be going to the gym consistently, either every day or every other day or on one day at the week. But that one day at the week, it's non-compromising, right? So like, this is what I call non-negotiables. So you gotta be able to have a couple of non-negotiables where every single day or every other day, these non-negotiables, they take care of themselves. There's no mental effort to get them done, they just get done. So as an example, for me, a non-negotiable that I have is that every day when I wake up, I drink 4 to 6 ounces of water. That's a non-negotiable for me. And the reason for that is because when you go to sleep, you spend 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, whatever, depending on how much time you spend in bed sleeping, your body dehydrates, right? So you got to be able to hydrate your body immediately after you wake up so that you can kind of start your day on the right foot. So for me, whenever I wake up, sometimes I have water right next to my bed. Immediately after I wake up, I drink 4 to 6 ounces of water. So that's one non-negotiable that I have. The other non-negotiable that I have is that I go to the gym. I go to the gym 5 days a week. That's a non-negotiable. Everything else around that, I will work around that. But it's a non-negotiable. It's my identity, is who I am. Me going to the gym is part of my core, is what I do. So you gotta be able to find what those non-negotiables are for you, so that then that action you can take it consistently without any mental resources being used. The second thing that you have to do is that once you have that action, you clearly identify what that non-negotiable is for you. Then the second thing is that you have to define when you're going to do that. Like, when are you going to do that? Basically, what that means is that, okay, so let's say you say that you're going to go to the gym, right? You're going to go to the gym on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's part of the when. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4 o'clock. So now you have an action that you're going to commit to doing on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 4 p.m. There's no mental resources. You just have to commit and you do it. Simple as that. So number one, pick an action. Number two, make sure that you define when you're gonna do that. The third thing is that you have to change the environment. If your environment is not conducive to what you're trying to do, like, you're gonna struggle. You have to make sure that everything in your environment is conducive to what you're trying to do and is in alignment with your goals and the outcome that you're trying to achieve. Because if it's not, then it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. But what does that mean, right? So what does it mean? In the example that we're using, right, for the gym, it's something as simple as, okay, you already said Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 4 p.m., that's when you're going to go to the gym. Maybe you get out of work at 3 p.m. And changing the environment can be something as simple as making sure that for Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you have everything that you need for the gym in a little bag, your pre-workout, post-workout, whatever you want, your gym clothing, your shoes, whatever, that you get that ready and you take it with you in your vehicle and you put it right next to you. So that way when you get out of work at 3 and you get inside your car, you see that bag, you know is game on. So you have to be able to change the environment. So that will be one example of that. You gotta be able to make the things that you need to do easy, and the things that you know you're not supposed to be doing, you have to make them hard. So a perfect example when it comes to like health and eating healthy and things like that, like the easiest thing to do is to make sure that you get rid of all the things that you're not supposed to be eating. Get rid of them. Because the thing is that your environment is going to be more powerful, or you changing the environment is going to be more powerful than your willpower. If you're trying to eat healthy, as an example, if you're trying to eat healthy and you have snacks and you have cookies and you have all these other things all over the house, at some point, your emotions and your willpower are going to fail you. And then you're going to dip in there. Right? But if you remove all those temptations and you get it out of the environment, then that's not going to be in the way of you doing what you need to do. Another example could be where maybe you said that you want to go to bed early and you want to make sure that you get a good night's sleep, right? You're working on your health. So if you know that you're trying to do that, one thing that you can do to change the environment is that a lot of times we sleep with our devices next to our beds, and you might go to bed. You might say, you know what, my goal or the action that I'm going to take is that I'm going to go to bed, right? And I'm going to go to bed, define the time, right? The second thing, so the first thing is picking that action, so going to bed early. Defining the action would be I'm going to go to bed between 9 and 10 p.m. So that's defining the time frame. And then changing the environment is like you make sure that you don't have any devices, that you don't have any TVs, that you don't have any phones or iPads inside your room, because when you go to your bedroom between 9 and 10, you're going to sleep. But if you have devices in your room, again, your willpower may not be that great. So you might defer to like picking up the device and you're like, let me just check something real quick. And before you know it, you're spending some time scrolling, or you're watching TV and things that you shouldn't be doing. So if you're trying to win in life, make sure you're not relying on your emotions, your feelings. You have to make sure that you put systems in place that are going to help you to be able to get to where you want to be or achieve the outcome of the goals that you're trying to achieve. Because if you rely on your emotions or your feelings, the reality is that you're going to struggle. And more than likely, the longer you stay on that silent phase, the more than likely that you're going to quit. Again, not because you can't win or you're not talented enough or you're not motivated enough, but because you just don't feel like continuing to do things. And if you rely on emotions and you rely on feelings, then you may quit. But if you have systems in place, your systems, if you have them the right way, they're going to carry you. Remember this, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So if you have great systems in place, it's inevitable. You're going to win. But if your systems are not optimal, they're not that great, you may or may not be able to achieve your goal or your desired outcome, and you're going to always be kind of like in this unstable kind of like condition. So you want to build great systems, you want to put those systems in place, and you want to be able to let those systems carry you into the next iteration of yourself, which, as I mentioned in the last video, is the compounding phase. If you made it to the end, thank you, appreciate you. I highly recommend that you watch this one here. This channel is for people that are playing the long game and for people who are committed to building systems, and if that's you, you're in the right place. See you in the next one.